happen? We've seen turmoil of late. What's going to happen after the Fed meeting?
Well, of course, the Fed meeting is only part of it. I mean, the Fed is expected to announce another 10 billion worth of tapering. But, you know, that shouldn't surprise most people. But, of course, emerging markets are vulnerable to the idea that the liquidity blanket has been pulled away. But there are country-specific factors. We can look at Argentina last week. They announced that they were going to drop their intervention. That, of course, saw the Argentine Peso plummet. And, of course, generally speaking, the emerging market currencies that are most vulnerable to what's going on right now are the ones with the worst fundamentals, the ones with the largest current account deficits. Look at Turkey, look at the South African rand. So these are more exposed to the US, but this is all about as well their own fundamental mishaps, if you like.
Okay, so that's the EM picture. Let's talk about the yen now, because it's had some big falls too, but stabilizing a bit now. Where do you see the yen at the end of Q1?
Well, of course, the end, what we're seeing at the moment is we're seeing it benefit from safe haven flows. The turmoil that's going on in Asia and emerging markets is seeing the yen benefit. And, of course, if we look to positioning in the yen, we see that everybody seems to be short going into the start of this year. And therefore, you could say it was ripe for a little bit of a correction. Now, at the end of Q1, I do think that perhaps that the yen will again begin to weaken. But it very much depends on the Bank of Japan. Will the Bank of Japan announce even more stimulus on top of what's already out there ahead of the consumption tax in April, or will it not? And that, I think, will be the determining factor.
Okay, that's Japan. Looking at the Kiwi now, the RBNZ going to decide on rates this week. What do you expect to hear from them?
Well, I imagine that they'll remain fairly hawkish, but I don't think that they're going to announce the rate hike just yet. Now, certainly if you go back to September, they've really positioned themselves for a rate hike in the coming months. We saw the inflation data last week a bit stronger than expected, again suggesting they will probably hike. But right now, all of the other central banks just about in the developing world have turned more dovish, meaning that if the RBNZ were to hike this week, they really would be differentiating themselves from the pack. So I think they'll just wait a little bit longer.
Okay, and Germany, just very quickly, we got the IFO coming out. Do you expect it to show that Germany is on a roll again? And will we see the growth forecast upgraded?
Well, of course, we have seen decent PMIs for Germany from the start of the year and then again last week, suggesting that perhaps that IFO again will be good. So, yes, I am quite hopeful that the IFO will continue that better trend, and hopefully the market will become more confident about growth in Germany and the Eurozone.